Mike McCool here in the Royal Examiner Studio, and with me today is Donna Hunt and Butch Hammond. They're from the church at Skyline. Is it still the church at Skyline?
It is.
You've changed, I think it's changed around, or we call it, anyway, that's the name of it.
The Church of Skyline. Yep.
And they have a school there as well. It's a Skyline Christian Academy, and you've been in here several times over the years. We've talked about the school. You brought Donna with you today. She is we're going to call her the person in charge of the school.
Yeah, she's the one that makes things happen.
Well, you need somebody like that, let me tell you. And you really need someone to keep keep control of Butch, because he takes off on these tangents. So they got a lot of stuff going on at the church, and they want to kind of talk about it. Primarily, we'll talk about the school.
Sure.
And let's do that first. How's it going? I mean, when's this, your third year, fourth year?
I'll let Donna take that.
It's our second year.
Maybe I guess I was just so COVID. We kind of got all messed up.
We did. It messed a little bit everything up, but yes, it's our second year, and we are actually in here because we're having an open house on Friday from 6 to 8. So that's June 10th. From 6 to 8, and our ages are kindergarten through 6th grade.
Yeah, that's really the best age group, I think, to get a school started. It gives you a good foundation. They can learn to read and get the foundation. You're not going to be, regardless, you're never behind or ahead. You're kind of like right in the right spot.
Right.
If you move on to public school or other schools, you've got a good foundation. And, a foundation is everything, as we all know. That's a great. And again, it's. I think the audience is larger at kindergarten. That's where the kids still like you and the parents still like you. So it's always a good place to get into. Once you get past 6th grade, either the kids hate you or the parents hate you. One or the other.
Let's hope not.
So let's talk about your school a little bit. You have small class sizes, I know.
We do.
We do.
So you got off through the first year, so. It was good.
It was. We had with COVID, we kind of started the school because of just a dream and of COVID. There's been some other Christian schools here in town, and not that we wanted to take the place, but we wanted to offer a place where Christian kids could come, or any kid could come and come to a Christian setting or a Christian school that was affordable. And so we've tried to make that affordable. I think I shared with you once before, as a parent, my son growing up, we just never had the funds to do that.
Sure.
So it's always been a dream, and on my heart is to make that available. If somebody wants to come, and our classes are small. Right now we have 3 teachers, and they're able to connect with every student. And this is where I was going to let Donna talk a lot, because...
But you're doing great. You are doing great.
So we're trying to implement even some things as we go along. We've implemented some crafts. I think we're going to try Spanish this year.
Yes.
Some of the kids. We've got a lady that's going to come in and help with that. So
art and music. And then we also want to have some creative weeks. We've talked about having a week of pottery and basket weaving, types of food. So there are different things that we can do to make it more interesting and more hands-on for the students to learn.
We don't need to go to school and 45 minutes change rooms, 45 minutes change room, an hour and change. That's not how we started, And we talked to, we were mentioned before we started, was about Royal Christian Academy, and we all know Mr. Sisk, Terry Sisk. He was one of our. He worked for me part time. Actually, I think he worked for me full time, and he did everything else part time. But I think he worked 2 12-hour days. He had really motivated in getting kids to read at a younger age and encourage them and challenging them with activities and things like that. And I think that's really what we need to kind of get back to the basics, especially in kindergarten to 6th grade. We need that good, basic, well-rounded exposure to different things, and you can't always do that in 45 minutes. Of course, now they do it in blocks and things, but it just needs to be a little challenging. One time we were looking at what's called outcome-based education, and so the kids just did it till they mastered a task, and then they moved on to the next task. And so sometimes they were there for a week or 2, sometimes they were for a month, sometimes they were for a couple days. And then so each student was on its own curriculum. You can do that in a small environment.
You can.
But when school systems, they tried it, but it didn't really go over. It's hard to manage 3,000 and 4,000 kids on individual. But they give it a shot, and
Yeah.
it works. I was talking to Richard Gardner over at Warren County High School, and he's in charge of the DECA program. And what he does, he give up lecturing and stuff, so all he does now is called project-based learning. He gives them a project, and then they learn all the aspects of on that project and doing it. No more lectures and sitting there and doing that. So and kids learn better, I think, when they're with hands-on.
Yes, hands-on learning.
Yep.
So I was going to tell you, one of the things that really my kids loved at RCA was and they did it out of necessity, and I'm sure you're doing it too, is having like 2 grades together. And I remember he went to 4th and 5th grade in one room. I go back to the one-room schoolhouse. It literally was a one room, and because the classes were small, and so they had 4th grade in the morning and 5th grade in the afternoon, and but they were all in the same room. And it was so funny when he did go into 5th grade. He told Tia, "Well, yeah, I learned that last year." "Well, you're only in 4th grade last year." "Yeah, but I learned that last year." "I learned that last year."
Yes.
Yeah.
"No, you didn't." "Oh, yeah, give me the test." So it's amazing at that age that they absorb. They're like
really do.
sponges.
They are.
And so I think that's where it was great, and they felt more challenged. They weren't bored, because the ones that
Exactly.
wanted to do it was easy to do it, and the other ones didn't get left behind. It was kind of a win-win. So I encourage. I think we really need to go back to more of that. Of course, I'm sure the educators will poo-poo that and not. "Oh, you can't do that." But you do what each kid is different. Kids
They are.
different.
And with a smaller classroom size, you can offer whatever that child needs.
Exactly. We need to go back to the individual. Sometimes they need to be just focus on reading for a couple of weeks just to get that in their head. Then they can go on back to the other things, and that's what's
Right.
great.
Yeah.
I mentioned it probably many times. Every time I talk to some educator, I always say, there's a lot more good teachers than excellent teachers. And excellent teachers, when you got 40 and 50, 60 kids in a room, you got to be a really excellent teacher in order to manage the subject knowledge and manage the classroom.
Exactly.
If you've got 10 students in your room, you can be just a good teacher and accomplish
That's a good
the
point.
same thing. So that's why a lot of the private schools, obviously, they seem to excel in some areas because they have good teachers, but their
Exactly.
classroom size is small.
Small.
And I think that's a huge thing. And I think our systems are starting to realize that, and they're cutting their classrooms size back into smaller, bite-sized things so that, you can do that. So hopefully you keep that up and get it. So you have affordable tuition.
Affordable tuition, reading, writing, and arithmetic are
Yeah.
paramount. Bible is paramount. One of the things we found that we changed this year was, and we even got this a lot from the parents, is we used to do a chapel once a month.
Right.
Well, they like chapel once a week.
Right.
And so for like a 40-minute block, I think it was, I would generally do the chapel. I would come in and do the chapel, make it fun. The kids they couldn't wait till chapel. And so who would have thunk it?
I know, yeah.
So
Well, I was over at Ohio Valley University. They have chapel every day.
Oh my!
that's right, they do.
And,
Well, maybe we'll morph into that.
yeah, as you get more students and you
Yeah.
start doing it. And,
Well, we do have Bible every day, not on the chapel days. So we
Right.
do offer Bible every day.
I think it's a good exposure to people that and it's tough when you have kids coming from all different walks of life. Some of these kids have never been inside a church building,
Exactly.
and but their parents know that they want. There's something missing in the education system, and they really are looking for some sort of at least a Bible structured
Right.
environment to send their kids to. I think it's important.
And we have seen that time and time again, over the last 2 years. It's like, it doesn't matter if you go to church or don't go to church. If you want your kids to go to a school that's affordable, that's Christian based, people want that for their kids.
There's
Parents
obviously
want that for their
something
kids.
missing in our society today. And if you look back at when I went to school, and then maybe when Donna went to school, and then when you went to school, and things were different. I mean, we
was.
carried guns to school. We had hunting knives on our waist,
Yeah,
and shotgun hanging over the back.
I
run-
didn't do any of that, but
No, but in the parking lot, had the gun racks,
Right,
and I mean,
right,
they did in
yeah.
our school, and we had gun clubs, and everyone had a knife and a pocket knife, and and it just seems like a different time.
Yeah.
Now I
It is.
remember I was trying to
It
get
is.
into Canada one year. We went up there and, oh, you got a nail clipper? Give us that. We're going to confiscate your nail clippers. Like,
wow.
come on. I mean, we just carry things to way extreme. But it's obviously something missing in our society, and we know what it is.
We do.
But the world doesn't always want to recognize that when you take God out of things, it falls apart.
But it's interesting though. They want their kids to understand about God,
Yes.
and so there's always hope.
Yeah.
So whoever you are, wherever you are, there's always hope.
That's right. That's great. So what else we got going on? I see, every place is be offering vacation Bible schools. I'm sure the church at Skyline will be no different.
We are. We have started what's called a Skyline adventure there. A lady stepped up into a ministry there, and so we actually started with a roller rink thing, and we invited the community, and it was great success. We've got Bob Smiley coming. He's a Christian comedian. He's coming the 24th and 25th, 6 p.m. At Church of Skyline. And by the way, that's where the open house is. It's at the church, 7655 Stonewall Jackson Highway.
Thank you.
And he's coming. I think so many people get this stigma of church. Even the older millennials, they get this. You can't laugh, you can't have fun in church. I disagree. We know the scripture says medicine, laughter does good like medicine. So we want to bring a Christian comedian that's going to tell some very good jokes. You can go online and check him out. But if you're interested in coming, we'd love to have you there either of those nights. The tickets are $25, and you can sign up at thechurchatskyline.com, or you can sign up at MJ, and I'm trying to read this without my glasses, MJTH04 at yahoo.com.
I will put all those links below the video here so
great.
you can do it. Yeah.
Okay.
No one's going to remember that.
Probably not.
and he probably read it wrong anyway. So
Probably. Little
wanna
vein
borrow
in
my
there.
glasses?
No, I got mine. I just didn't put them on. And then on July the 11th, for 4 days, we have a Jerusalem Marketplace. I know a lot of people are doing that in town. This is something we've done for the last 20 years, or I've been a part of. This is not new. It's been going on a long time. We're restructuring our sanctuary to look like a Jerusalem marketplace.
Interesting.
And so it is. It's very interesting. We put one of the tents up so the congregation could see it and start getting involved. And you're going to find rabbis there, and you're going to find shopkeepers and those who do different things that you would find on a Jerusalem any day marketplace in biblical times. So it's going to be fun.
It'll be interesting. People need. It's hard sometimes for people to visualize first century Christianity.
Yes. Yes.
And we need to maybe look at that. And there's some things going on in the world, and that's kind of like the heart of it and where it started. And the head of the church was there, and he pretty much told us how he wants things done. And so maybe we need to go back and look at that and say, are we doing the things that Jesus wanted us to do?
Exactly.
Amen.
Yeah, it's an important thing to do, and so people can visualize, and until they see it, they can't, realize it. We've got a lot of things in scriptures as you do preacher lessons. We do things, like why do they wash their feet, and what There's a lot of historical things that go beyond a lot of these things that we teach and preach a lesson on. But then there's also reasons why they were done and how they were able to take a common day item and make a spiritual message out of it. So a lot of things like that.
And how those things are relevant for us today.
Exactly. That's the one thing too, is if I always think it's amazing when you read through things through the Bible, you realize how that you can put today into the scripture today. It's like, well, yeah, people are exactly the same. We have not evolved.
No, not at all. Not at
We're
all.
just as dumb today as we were then. I mean, it's really funny when you think.
But there's hope, Mike.
There's hope. That's right.
There is. Thank
hope.
the Lord.
There is hope.
I love the scripture that says, where Jesus told his disciples, he says, in this world, you will have trouble. And I don't think you need to be a rocket scientist to understand that. Right. But then he followed that up, but be of good cheer. I have overcome the world.
There you go.
And when you grasp that in your heart, you see things with a different light.
Yeah. Yeah. I always like, well, this too shall pass.
Yes.
Yeah. Said that a few times myself.
Oh, yes, yeah, this too shall pass. But anyway, it's great. So a lot of things going on at the Church of Skyline.
Yes, lots.
But we do want to kind of stress the school. I think it's a good... I was talking to someone the other day about our private schools that we have in the community. Between our home schools and our private schools, there's like 25% of the educated,
Yes.
kid block is going to somewhere other than public school. Now, I may be wrong, and of course I'll get a ring from the superintendent saying it's on 23%, but it's still a big number.
Yeah.
It
and
is.
And
It
I think the public schools have embraced it. I think it's not going to go away, and I do like some things now that they've done where there's some participation in certain classes and sports, and
Yes.
there's some sharing things there because these kids are part of the community and they're not going to be in these private schools forever.
Right.
Exactly.
And they're going to be back in our workforce, be back into the school system, and I think they're just parents are looking for something different, and I think our governor is pushing that agenda.
Yes.
He wants parents to make a choice, make a choice, and I think we're going to see a big change in education, depending on how the political side goes. But there's always talk about follow the money, and when the day comes, the money turns loose and stays with the kid, you're going to see education be much more competitive.
I think so.
I always tell people, the schools are turning out a product and we need to guarantee them. And that's our workforce.
Yeah.
And that's
It
our
is.
future leaders.
It is.
And we need to make sure that whatever we're doing as churches and schools, you're responsible for that child as far as what they're going to be, where they're going. And you're going to be held in judgment on that. So I think it's important.
True.
So do a good job down there.
We are. We
All
are.
right. All right. Anything else we want to talk about? We've done beat that up. So
No, I don't think so.
All right.
Donna?
That
affordable
was it.
Christian education K through 6
K through 6.
Yes.
at the Church of Skyline. So check it out. I'll put their website. You can go to, click on it. You'll find about the school. All the links are there, right?
Sure.
So they can get to the
Yes.
school information. Give Butch a call. Give Donna a call. And if you got a K through 6 age child, maybe thinking about it, this might be a good opportunity to make that change.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. All right.
All right. Thanks
Thank you.
again, and good luck on your VBS and everything else going on. It's great.
All right.
Thanks
Thank you.
again,
Thank
Butch.
you.
Thanks, Donna.